This
is
conference
consider,
will now be recorded.
the next item is consider approving Resolution 2020-18, approving an extension of the local disaster emergency.
I'll make that motion. Tutino.
I'll second Flanagan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider approving Resolution 2020-19, ratifying Proclamation 2020-04, establishing temporary no parking areas within the borough. Mr. Peters, if anyone has any questions?
Thank you, President Leonard. First, does anyone have any questions?
No.
So
No.
just very quickly, the mayor issued a proclamation establishing temporary no parking between First and Second Avenue along Fayette Street. This was in response to the recent mandate issued by the state with respect to the wearing of face masks indoors. This allows your restaurants greater opportunity for both curbside and for outdoor dining. The proposal is for it to continue for a period of 90 days.
Okay, so the motion is to approve Resolution 2020-19, ratifying Proclamation 2020-04, establishing temporary no parking areas within the borough.
I'll make that motion, Sokolowski.
I'll second Anita.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider approving change order number 3 for the 2019 road program. This I'm going to turn over to Karen McNair, our borough engineer. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. This change order became necessary because while we were completing work associated with the 2019 road program, we found that there was gas services in conflict with the proposed storm line on East 8th Avenue. So we had to temporarily close the job site while we're waiting for the Pico gas relocation work to be completed. Because the contractor had already done some of the work, including installing the inlets, they put solid tops on the inlets to close it off so that water wouldn't get into the inlets and the pipes that they had installed. And they've also demobilized from the site. So we've also included in this change order a 45-day extension for after the Pico gas relocation work has been completed, and also once it would be weather permitting in case Pico would finish in the winter. This would be 45 days after Pico has completed the work and they could begin the pipe work again.
Okay, does
Again,
anyone
this
have
work
any
has already
questions?
been completed.
What's
The construction work, the installation of the solid inlet tops, and the mobilization work has already been completed, just in the interest of time to close off the site.
okay? Because this is a 2019 project, correct?
Yes. So
Okay.
this is change order 3 for the project. Change orders 1 and 2 had extended the times into this year.
Okay. So
So
Karen,
I'm sorry, I have a question.
go ahead.
Change orders usually come at a fee. What is the cost of this change order, and who's responsible for that cost? Does it come off the total cost of the project?
So the total cost of the change order is just under $5,000. It's $4,969. Gilmore has offered to reimburse the borough for $2,500 of that cost. The remainder of that cost could come out of the borough's liquid fuels fund.
Okay. And as of this date with this change order, we expect this project to be done on time now?
We are waiting for Pico is currently contacting all of the impacted residents along East 8th Avenue. They've reached out twice. Their third reach out should be occurring within the next week or two. And they need to hear back from all the residents on to whether they'll permit them to come into the homes to disconnect the gas line to reconnect it when the relocation work is taking place. So we
What
have
happens
to,
if it's a rental?
they will have to try and reach out to the owner.
Okay.
So Karen, is this normally something that's done before the project starts?
It is. We had done a design PA1 call. The contractor did a construction PA1 call. The information that was provided to us did not show that there would be a conflict. In speaking with PICO, they can still not tell us where their facilities are for the gas services, but the contractor had, at no charge to the borough, gone out and done a couple test pits to see where the gas services were, and they found that they're going to be where the sewer pipe is proposed.
Okay.
And remind me one more time, this was the project that we tried to get off in the fall?
Yeah.
And we weren't successful, not because of the gas line. What was the reason why we were falling behind?
The contractor wouldn't start before the start date that was in the contract. They didn't make it a priority in their schedule. They didn't start, and so we had extended the contract time for them to start the project this year instead of ending the contract with them and pulling the bond.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. So I would need a motion to approve change order number 3 for the 2019 road program.
And that motion would be for the agreement to Gilmore paying half and the borough absorbing half?
Correct.
I'll make that motion, Bob Stokely.
I'll second it. Ike Griffin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider approving payment application number 1 for the 2019 road program in the amount of $95,917.50. Karen McNair, I'm going to turn that over to you again for questions and explanation.
Okay. So this is payment application 1. We have verified that the work items in here are complete. It does include the change order 3 items that you just approved that have been completed. That is with the exception that there is 100 linear feet of 18-inch concrete pipe that we have included per the contractor's request, and that represents the materials that they have purchased and they have placed out at the site for the work once it can continue, but that has not been placed in the ground yet.
So this is all those pipes laying along the street there?
Yeah.
And what you're asking for is us to approve the purchase of all that's laying there?
Yeah, because the contractor is requesting payment since they've already purchased it. And that's not usually something that we do, but because of delay for the PICO work, we had included in the payment application for your consideration.
Okay, I just have a
Is this
question.
half of the project?
I'm sorry, Anita, repeat that?
Is that half of the project or is that a full payment?
The
That's a
total
third.
linear footage of the 18-inch pipe is 470 feet, and the quantity in here is 100 feet of that pipe, so it's less than a quarter.
So what I'm
No,
saying,
she's
this
asking-
payment that they're asking for, is it
It's what's
half
part of the
payment
contract.
or is it a full payment? You understand?
What's the cost of the total job compared to this payment?
I
Thank
don't
you.
have that in here. The original contract price was $239,862.05, and their payment request is for just under
95.
$96,000. Yeah.
So my question, Karen, is, so we're essentially paying for the pipe that's laying on the ground. If we
Just the one
pay
line
for-
item, yeah.
So if the borough agrees to pay for that, I don't think the borough should be accepting liability if something happens to that pipe laying on the ground before it's installed.
Right.
That's correct. The borough does not. The way it's written into the contract documents, the borough is not responsible for that. The contractor is responsible for the protection of the work and the work product. So they are responsible for keeping it intact.
Okay.
And what protection, if it is damaged, that we would have that this job would go off on time? Because if it's damaged, then I would think that we'd have to get another product, and then that would be more time. And we've got to make sure that we're as close to timelines as possible, as one of our goals. So
You have to have the material on the job to do the job. So I rode by there today. The man has it all piled up. It's secure, and it's fine. It's the way you start a job. I mean,
okay.
you don't want to keep bringing the material there every day. He has it stockpiled. So that's a good thing.
Why drop it off if the project is weeks out?
Because it saves a lot of time.
Okay. They had dropped it off at the beginning of the project when they had started the work, before they found a conflict with the PICO.
There's nothing wrong with that. Give him his money. I'll make the motion.
It's Ray. Just so everybody, there have been some concerns from people in the neighborhood. All those concerns were answered and satisfactory. I don't think that there's any concerns from anybody in the neighborhood for those pipes. I think that was the main thing that we were concerned about, is that we would get complaints from the neighbors, but that hasn't happened. There's been 2 or 3. They've all been answered. So we should have no one in the neighborhood is concerned. And those pipes are really affecting 2 properties, where their locations are, and parking within those 2 properties, which is always a concern in Conshohocken. There's adequate parking in those areas while those pipes are there. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ray. So Karen, do we have some sort of a timeline now?
We are dependent on PICO and when they can relocate their gas line. I am in contact with them on a weekly basis, asking for updates on their end, and getting them the information that they request from us. So I can keep the borough updated as we hear back from PICO, but at this point, it's just going to be dependent on when they hear back from the residents to get into each of the homes.
Okay. Anyone else, any questions? Okay, so I'm going to need a motion to approve payment application number 1 for the 2019 road program in the amount of $95,917.50.
I'll make the motion, Bob Stokely.
I'll second the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just want to put out there, I really am feeling a $200,000 job that's going out of date and timelines. We really need to do better than that. We do multi-million-dollar projects on time without all these change orders. So I would ask that whatever we can do to try and keep on time and keep things moving, especially the smaller jobs, I would appreciate that.
Thank you, Tina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is consider authorizing the advertisement of construction bid documents for the energy generator transfer switch project for the community center. Mr. Sokolowski, if you could take that for questions.
This emergency transfer switch was pulled out of the initial bid package for putting in air conditioning into the community center. So we still want to continue with putting in the emergency transfer switch so we can use the community center if we did have a community-wide emergency. We would have an adequate facility where we could attach a emergency generator and run the facility off of the emergency generator for an extended period of time. So that's the premise behind it, and this would be just pulled from the original bid package, and a separate bid would have to be processed for it.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay. So I would be asking for a motion to authorize the advertisement of construction bid documents for the emergency generator transfer switch project at the community center.
I would make that move. Flanagan.
And a second?
Second, Sokolowski.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is council and mayor matters. Mayor Aronson?
Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
I just want to thank everyone for their support of the Arts Festival. Little poster here. We had an awesome June. We had 50 arts vendors. We had 30 cars. The 20 bands playing on the original festival date. So thank you to all the residents. Thank you to council administration always for your support. And we look forward to being live again, hopefully on June 5th, 2021.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Aronson. Mr. Stokely?
Yes, I have one thing. Talking about St. Matt's and Father Heron, about a year and a half ago, I guess in one of his sermons, he was saying, I'm praying for parking. So I need to tell him to go down the First Avenue, look up in the air. I think his prayer's been answered.
I think you're right.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Bob. Anita?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay. Jane?
Nothing for tonight. Thank you.
Karen?
I don't have anything for this evening. Thank you.
Ike?
No, I don't have anything this evening.
Tina?
Just from a safety and wellness of our residents, please remember our parks are open. We want to make sure we're social distancing. Wearing masks is highly recommended. COVID is not going away yet. There is some upticking locally in COVID testing based on, I think, some of the gatherings over the holiday weekends. So we just want to make sure that as a community, we are protecting each other for the duration.
Thank you, Tina. Chief Metz, are you here?
I am, Colleen. I would just like to take a moment to point out the support that the department has felt. There's been a lot of negativity surrounding police in the country recently, but you know it's not all negative. And we've gotten a lot of support from the community and thanks and well wishes and prayers. And you know, some members of council have reached out to me, and I really appreciated it. It's you know, we all do a job and we get paid to do it, and we're glad to do it. But it's nice to have that kind of support, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Very well said, Chief Metz. So at this time, we will go to public comment. Brittany, do we have any?
Yes, we received public comment from 2 individuals. The first comes from Dennis Hannon, 448 West 6th Avenue, and he writes, I'm writing to request that Black Lives Matter be painted on one of the streets in Conshohocken. I'm starting a campaign to get more people involved in this project. The second comment comes from Christine Bertino at 448 West 6th Avenue, and she writes, I would love to see Fayette Street painted with Black Lives Matter, as well as have additional representation of the Black
population in our community. That's all I have.
Thank you, Brittany. So in response to those requests, I will say that requests of this nature for things being printed on the street need to be discussed first by the borough administration and our legal counsel before it would even become a talking point for council to move forward with, and that Fayette Street is also a state-owned roadway, so the approval for that would have to go through PennDOT. Am I correct in that, Mr. Peters?
On both counts. Yes, Ms. Leonard. Currently, you do not have, in effect, any regulations with respect to the painting of the public streets. So that is something that we will have to discuss administratively. And if there's something to come back to council, we will let you know.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Brittany, do we have any other comments?
No, those were the only comments that we received via email submission.
Okay. And we have no one live at the meeting?
So just for my understanding, with those two requests, we're going to use our process where our administrative team and our legal team look at the request, bring back to us what concerns or possibilities could potentially be, and then we would, as a group, make some discussions around that. Is that correct?
I believe
Yes.
that is correct. Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
So, and I think as a council, individually, we may all want to start thinking of other ways in which we could actually do things to help the Black Lives Matter cause on a personal level with council and the police, with the residents. So that is also something that we could start working on.
Yeah, I'm very proud of our community with the way that we
Yeah.
are responding to the different initiatives and being aware and having community input.
Open conversation.
Correct. Okay, so if no one has anything else, and I think I got everything on the agenda this time before I say meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
everyone.
Thank you.